Background of the Canadian economy. Canada's economic story is woven with threads of resilience, rooted in its abundant natural resources, a diverse workforce, and robust trade relationships. Yet it grapples with vulnerabilities to external factors that consistently shape its economic trajectory. As we step into 2023, Canada finds itself navigating the post-pandemic landscape. Recent data from Statistics Canada reveals a promising GDP growth rate of 4.2%, indicating a resilient recovery. But let's not stop at the surface. Let's delve into the performances of Canada's three biggest industries with the freshest real-world numbers. Services sector. The services sector, a linchpin of Canada's GDP, showcases divergent trends. While the technology and finance sectors soar with a notable growth of 6.5%, industries like hospitality and tourism struggle, witnessing a 2% contraction. In tangible terms, this translates to a $25 billion surge in the technology and finance sectors, but a $10 billion dip in hospitality and tourism revenue. The economic dissonance doesn't just present challenges, it paints a broader picture with profound social implications, influencing employment dynamics and income inequality. Manufacturing sector. Manufacturing, sensitive to global markets, paints a nuanced picture with a modest 1.8% growth. This sector's performance holds the key to trade dependencies and job dynamics. In concrete terms, this growth equates to a $12 billion upswing in manufacturing output. The real-world implication lies in the need for strategic economic policies, ensuring manufacturing resilience and a skilled workforce. Natural resources sector. The natural resources sector, intrinsic to Canada's identity, faces challenges due to a 0.5% dip in commodity prices. This results in a $4 billion reduction in revenue, not only impacting the sector's overall performance, but also raising questions about environmental sustainability. The real-world implication here underscores the necessity for responsible practices and industry-specific initiatives, balancing economic contributions and environmental stewardship for long-term ecological health. Adding complexity to this narrative, the second quarter of 2023 witnessed a contraction in GDP, unveiling ongoing challenges in the post-pandemic recovery. Housing market and its impact. The housing market, a crucial component of the Canadian economy, experiences unprecedented dynamics. Robust growth in certain sectors intensifies housing demand, impacting prices. Concurrently, challenges in traditional sectors influence housing market dynamics, exacerbating the affordability conundrum. In real terms, housing prices in urban centers surge by 10%, aligning with the latest data from real estate indices. The real-world implication of this housing boom extends beyond the real estate sector, permeating the broader economy. It influences consumer spending, construction activities, and overall economic stability. As housing prices soar, the affordability crisis deepens, affecting Canadians' ability to invest in other sectors or save for the future. Comprehensive housing policies are urgently needed to address affordability issues and create sustainable market conditions. Canada's R&D spending and global comparisons. Now let's pivot to Canada's investment in research and development. The extent to which a nation invests in innovation and technology plays a pivotal role in its economic competitiveness. As of the latest data, Canada's R&D spending stands at 1.7% of its GDP in 2021. Comparatively, Canada lags behind other G7 countries except Italy. The United States allocates 3.4% of its GDP to R&D, showcasing a higher commitment to technological advancement. Germany and Japan also outpace Canada, with 3.13% and 3.59% of their GDP dedicated to research and development. The real-world implication of Canada's lower R&D spending is reflected in its ability to stay at the forefront of technological innovation. A substantial investment in R&D fosters technological literacy and innovation, essential for recovery and long-term economic competitiveness. To bridge this gap and enhance Canada's position on the global stage, strategic investments in education and skills development are imperative. Challenges facing the Canadian economy. Now, let's delve into the myriad challenges the Canadian economy is currently grappling with, each backed by the latest real-world figures and facts. Income inequality. Despite an overall decline in unemployment rates to 6.2%, income inequality persists. The real-world implication is evident in the 10% growth in top earners' incomes compared to a 5% growth for the rest of the population. Labor market disparities. The uneven nature of the recovery is reflected in labor market disparities. The tech sector witnesses a 3% increase in employment, while the services sector experiences a 1% decline. This highlights the need for targeted employment strategies to address sector-specific challenges. Trade imbalances. Canada's trade dependencies, particularly with the United States, contribute to trade imbalances. Changes in U.S. economic policies impact Canadian exports, with a $30 billion annual impact, underscoring the need for diversified trade strategies. Environmental sustainability challenges. The natural resources sector's challenges extend beyond economic impacts, raising questions about environmental sustainability. A 0.5% dip in commodity prices equates to a $4 billion reduction in revenue, emphasizing the need for responsible practices and industry-specific initiatives. Global economic uncertainties. The contraction in GDP during the second quarter reflects Canada's vulnerability to external shocks. A $15 billion reduction in economic output underscores the importance of agile trade policies and efforts to diversify markets for enhanced economic resilience. Technological lag. Canada's lower R&D spending compared to other G7 countries poses a challenge in maintaining technological competitiveness. Strategic investments in education and skills development become imperative to bridge this technological gap. Housing affordability crisis. The robust growth in the housing market, with a 10% increase in prices, intensifies the affordability crisis. The real-world implication involves the urgent need for comprehensive housing policies to address affordability issues and create sustainable market conditions. U.S. influence and debt dynamics. The influence of the United States on Canada's economic stability is undeniable, with around 75% of Canadian exports heading south. Changes in U.S. economic policies have a direct impact on Canada's economic trajectory. In real terms, this translates to a $30 billion annual impact on Canadian exports, a figure gleaned from the latest trade data. The real-world implication is the need for nimble economic strategies that can adapt to shifts in American policies. Exchange rates and borrowing costs. Fluctuations in the U.S. economy also impact the Canadian dollar's exchange rate and borrowing costs. This, in turn, affects investment decisions and consumer behavior in Canada. The real-world implication underscores the importance of closely monitoring and adapting to changes in the global economic landscape to maintain stability at home. Now, let's delve deeper into Canada's R&D expenditure, utilizing the latest actual figures to paint a comprehensive picture of the nation's commitment to innovation and technological advancement. Canada's current R&D spending, standing at $27.3 billion as per Statistique Canada, reveals both the strengths and areas requiring attention. While this allocation represents a significant investment, the gap compared to other G7 nations is still notable. The United States, allocating 3.4% of its GDP to R&D, outpaces Canada, showcasing a broader commitment to fostering technological advancements. The real-world implication of this expenditure gap is multifaceted. It affects Canada's ability to compete globally in emerging technologies, limiting the nation's capacity to drive innovation-led economic growth. Closing this gap necessitates a strategic approach focusing on collaboration between government, industry, and academia. The current allocation is a commendable step, but sustained efforts are crucial for Canada to emerge as a technological powerhouse on the world stage. Turning our attention to the intricate web of debts woven into Canada's economic fabric, let's use the latest actual figures to dissect the current debt landscape. As of March 2023, Canada's national debt stands at $1.37 billion, a significant figure that requires careful consideration. The implications of such a debt burden extend beyond immediate fiscal concerns. Responsible fiscal management becomes paramount, emphasizing the need for a balanced budgetary approach to navigate the challenges of economic recovery and growth. At an individual level, Canadians are grappling with mounting personal debts, with the average household debt reaching $21,131. This poses challenges for consumer spending patterns and long-term financial stability. Addressing individual debt requires a multifaceted strategy, encompassing financial literacy initiatives, responsible lending practices, and targeted support for those facing financial strain. The real-world implications of national and individual debt dynamics underscore the interconnected nature of economic challenges. Strategic fiscal policies, prudent financial management, and comprehensive support mechanisms are imperative to navigate these complexities and foster a resilient economic environment. In conclusion, Canada's economic landscape is a dynamic tapestry of challenges, opportunities, and shifts. The performances of its three biggest industries, the impact of the housing market, the influence of the United States, the intricacies of debt dynamics, and the implications of industry-specific data and R&D spending all shape its narrative. As we navigate through the complexities of 2023, understanding these nuances becomes even more crucial for informed decision-making. I hope you've been entertained, enlightened, and energized by our journey through the worlds of economics, engineering, and energy. If you found this deep dive intriguing, hit the like button, subscribe for more videos, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and see you in the next episode of the Triple E Show.